Hi there guys, this is Garth from Draw the Trigger, and I'm going to be bringing you well, I call it an unboxing, but the box is long gone for this, but never mind, the Madoka Magica Weiss Schwarz trial deck. Before I go into the actual run through of the deck, certain boxes will come with a promo card. In my instance, I got this very nice level 2 cost of 1 8k Fighting Against Fate Homura, which has an activated ability of a cost of 1. This card gets plus 2000 power until the end of turn, which is very nice. Sometimes I like to throw it into my Madoka deck just for the fun, just for the hell of it. But onto the actual deck itself. I'll start with Climax cards. We get 2 copies of I Won't Rely on Anyone Anymore. It's a continuous ability. All of your characters get plus 1000 power and plus 1 soul. But when this card triggers, you return this card to your hand and put the top card of your deck into your stock, which is very, very useful. Next, we have 2 copies of Miracles of Magica Real. When you trigger it, the character that it triggers gets plus 2 soul, and when you play it from the hand to the climax zone, all of your characters get plus 2 soul. And finally, for the climax cards, we have 4 copies of The Girl from the Dream. Again, when this triggers, that attack gains plus 2 soul. And when this card is placed from your climax area from the hand, put the top card of your deck into your stock and all of your characters get plus 1 soul until the end of the turn. Moving on to the level 0s. For childhood friend of Kyosuke, Sayaka. She's just a standard vanilla 3k with no cost. And exactly the same card with a different name and different artwork, of course. Dark Haired Girl Homura. There's 4 of those. There's 8 level 0 vanillas in the deck. Next we have 2 copies of Kyosuke Kamijo. When this card attacks, look at the top card of your deck and put it on the top or bottom of your deck. Very useful if you want to if you either want to push for an extra piece of damage if the card has a trigger on it, or if you want to do less damage specifically, then you can kind of filter out one that has that on the top, i.e. nothing. Very, very useful. 2 copies of A Lonely Fight Homura. If you do not have any other characters, this card gets plus 1 level and plus 1500 power. So if it is the only card on the stage, it is a level 1 with 3500 power. It's very good for countering against what are known as suicide cards. There's a very good Kyoko one in the Madoka set, which says that if this card is reversed, or even knocked out as it were, in a battle, if the card it faces is a level 0, then it is also knocked out. This card kind of counters that, which is very, very useful. So 2 copies of that one. Next we have 2 copies of Nurse's Aid Madoka. For a cost of 1, when this unit attacks, if a card named The Girl from the Dream, which is that one, is in the climax area, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose a character in your clock, return it to your hand and put the top card of your deck into your clock. It's very good for filtering back cards that you clocked that you might need a bit later. That's the last of the level 0s. We'll move on to the level 1s now. First of all, level 1, this is Battle with Walpurgis Nacht Homura. It's a 4500 power. When this card attacks, look at up to 2 cards from the top of your deck. Choose a card from among them and put it on top of your deck and put the rest in your waiting room. It's again got that little bit of that sort of future sight thing that reminds me so much of Oracle Think Tank. Very useful card. Next, 2 copies of Smiling Sayaka. So it has a cost of 1, 2500 power, but you aren't using it to attack. It's another assist card. All of your characters in front of this unit get plus X power. X is equal to 500 multiplied by the number of characters you have with assist. So in the early game you'll have the Ordinary Girl Madoka app, and what you can do is once you've got these 2 set up, push this one forward, and for that turn you will have 3 times 500 power because it includes itself, which is quite nice. So for that turn you'd have like a boost of 1500 to all of your characters in front of these cards. It's very useful. It even gives this one plus 1500 power. So yeah, this is a very good card. Its other ability is an Encore. Put the character from your hand into your waiting room. When this card is put into your waiting room from the stage, you may pay the cost. If you do, return this card to its previous stage position at rest. Yay. Next for the level 1s we have 4 second year of Mitakihara Middle School Sayaka. No cost for this one. It's a vanilla 5500 power. She's also joined in the vanilla department for level 1s by Madoka of the Blue Skies, and there are 2 of those. So 6 level 1 vanilla 5,500 power cards there in the deck. Next up we've got 4 Magical Girl of Swords Sayaka, level 1 with a cost of 1. She's an activated ability. She has a backup which can of 2,000, which can only be played from level 1 or higher. A cost of 1, and put this card from your hand into your waiting room. Choose one of your characters that is being frontal attacked, and that character gets plus 2,000 power until the end of turn. This is done after the attack has been declared and the trigger has been revealed. So, for example, this Madoka is being attacked for, say, 7,000. They reveal the top card of their deck for the trigger. At that point, then you can pay a cost of 1, play that down, and then immediately discard it. And that becomes a 7,500 power, which means that the attacker will lose. Last of the level 1s is 2 Law of the Cycle. This is an event card. How this works is at any time during your turn you can pay a cost of 1 and then discard that card. And what you do is you search your deck for up to 1 magic character, reveal it to your opponent, and put it into your hand, shuffle your deck afterwards. It is essentially, for a cost of 1, a free search of pretty much any card in your deck, almost, because the majority of your deck is a magic deck. Moving on to the level 2s, and there aren't many in the deck, to be quite honest. The main one is this one, Ally of Justice Sayaka. She's a level 2 with a cost of 1, 8,000 power. Continuous ability. If the number of other magic characters you have is 3 or more, this card gets plus 1,000 power, so it becomes a 9. It's very good. So if you've got, like, just for the sake of example, if your field happens to look like that, they would all be 9. Or they would all be 9,000 power before the assist, because there are 3 other copies, 3 other magic characters even. So very useful card. Next is level 2 with the cost of 2. This is Common Wishes Sayaka and Gyoko. During your opponent's turn, this card gets 500 power for each of your other magic characters. So if you have a full field, this card has 10,500 power, which is extremely good. Last but not least, level 3s, we start with Madoka Kaname. 2 copies. If the number of other magic characters you have is 3 or more, this card gets plus 1,000 power. It's a bit like the Ally of Justice Sayaka's ability there. So that makes it an 11,000 power. When this card is placed on stage from your hand, all of your characters get plus 2,000 power until the end of turn. Very, very powerful ability there. An activated ability. For a cost of 1, this card gets plus 2,000 power until the end of turn. So long as you do it in the main phase and you've got enough stock to play around with, you can kind of give it ridiculous numbers for very little stock. And finally, Homura Akemi. And I'm very, very lucky because my trial deck came with a very lovely signed version. 1 in 6 chance of getting a signed version of either of these cards, by the way. Her abilities are: if the number of cards in your stock is 4 or less, this card gets plus 500 power and also gets the ability to encore by putting a character from your hand into your waiting room. So she becomes a 10,500 power, and you don't have to pay a cost of 3 to keep her on the field. You just have to discard a card from your hand. Her other ability is the character facing this card gets -1 soul, which can be a good thing, and it can also be a bad thing. It depends on how close you are to the end of the game. Although at this point, if you're playing this card down, then chances are you're near the end. But I personally think that the -1 soul is not quite as good, because you want them to do more damage in order that you have more chance to cancel. But it's still kind of a cool effect. It can cancel out the abilities of climax cards that are placed down that give things +1 soul, because it negates that. But that is the trial deck. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you in the next video.